So the title of this this little chat right here, I'm gonna try and be quick with it, so bear with me. But the title of this is why you should appreciate Aesop Rock. And I posted up something earlier of me spitting Aesop's verse for Supercell, which is off his album The Impossible Kid. To preface this, if you know any MCs, or if you are an MC, if you saw that post, in that post was people like, why? Like, who's Aesop? What? Why? Did it? And people asking questions genuinely, like why though? And so hopefully I can give you, even Ace be like, yo man, why you keep bigging me up, B? Shout out to Aesop Rock. Where can I begin? So hopefully toward the end of this chat, I'll give you at least a understanding of what I see as a few reasons why, if you're a rapper specifically, but if you're just a general enjoyer of music and art, why someone like Aesop Rock should be in your, at least in your frame of reference, if not totally studied by you at all times. I study him relentlessly, but that's just me. But even at the lowest denominator, Aesop Rock should be in your frame of reference if you're a rapper, and at the highest, you should study him deeply. So hopefully I'll tell you why. So if you know any rappers that you think might want to hit this, shoot them a text, let them know. Or if you're just genuinely interested in that, it's gonna be a little bit of a spiel. I got a little time. So first and foremost, his name is Aesop Rock, not ASAP Rocky. I love both them dudes. I love ASAP Rocky, one of the homies. But I'm not talking about ASAP Rocky first. I'm saying Aesop Rock. Okay, so that's the first thing. ASAP. Shout out to ASAP Nas, ASAP Rock, ASAP Ferg. Shout out to the ASAP crew. Rest in peace, Yams. But Aesop Rock. Aesop, AESOP. I don't have his full biography. There's parts of him that are mysterious even to me. So I'll just give you the little biography that I have. He's a rapper. I think he's from New York. I don't know which borough. He's what we would be considered kind of an underground rapper. What you in the genre, maybe backpack, but that, trust me, there's more to that. But I only say that to say that he's not a gangster rapper. He's not like a trap rapper. He's not like a what do you call it? Like a nouveau elite lyricist, right? He's not that. Highly conceptual, highly talented, highly skilled. He's also a producer, and also an artist, an actual fine artist. So he actually paints and draws as well. And I think for a time, and even now, I think he's on Rhyme Sayers. If you know anything about Rhyme Sayers, it's the label in Minnesota, Minneapolis, specifically ran by Slug from Atmosphere. And they have rosters. They're on their rosters people like Rock, and at one point in time MF Doom, and Brother Ali. Did I mention Rock? I did. Aesop Rock. So again, kind of indie hip hop. That's my general biography for dude. So I'm gonna give you a couple stats. Okay, couple stats first. The first stat is an objective stat, and this is one of the reasons, why Aesop Rock should be in your frame of reference, if not heavily studied. I believe he should be heavily studied by every rapper. But this is why I think there's a stat of his that represents just how special he is. So a few years ago, they did a study on hip hop. I can't remember who did the study, but I'm gonna try and find it on my computer while I'm talking to y'all. They did a study about how rappers use vocabulary, right? And it was all rappers. So it's basically just like this. We're gonna count the unique words that every rapper that we can find of note, right? A rapper's of note. So I'm not saying it's every rapper, but rappers of note. And you know, what is the density of their vocabulary? You know, like what is how many unique words do they use? Right? So how many unique individual words do rappers use? And then they just started to chart them, right, on this chart. So they made this visualization, and it was this chart. And what you saw on the chart, and I'm actually bringing it up so I can show it. It should be easily found. Get my lap teasy. Drag it over here. Get your butt on over your laptop. Turn on for me. Turn on for me. Come on. There you go. Oh, my laptop dead. Hold on, y'all. 2 seconds. How you gonna be dead, man? You supposed to be alive. You alive. Nigga, I'm just, you gotta plug me in too. I need food. My food is electricity, man. Thinking I'm photosynthetic. Photosynthetic computers would be the shit, though. All right, so so they did this chart, and I'm gonna bring it up. But on the chart, they started to plug in everybody on this chart. And so what you see if you look at this chart, and I'm gonna show you, is the majority of rappers, the overwhelming majority of rappers, they land somewhere, have some real nice hip hop conversations with y'all, some Sosa level conversations. Yeah, come on. Boom. Come on, what you doing, man? Cut it out. All right, here we go. There we go. Yeah, so here's the chart. Why do you like this? Sorry. So here's the chart. I'm gonna show y'all the chart real quick. So that's the chart that they did, right? And as you can see, like most rappers, they kind of in here, right? And it's literally everybody. There's Lil Uzi Vert right there. You see, you got 2,556 unique words. Kid Ink, Kodak Black, Young Thug, Scarface, Foxy Brown, Childish Gambino, 3 6 Mafia, Twista, Cam, Insane Clown Posse's even on here. Shout out to Dead Body, man. And I'm in here somewhere. Joe Budden's right there. There go Royce right there, 4,300 words. Nas is right here. And where am I at? I think I'm on here. I should be on here. I don't know if I'm on here. So y'all see this list, right? So that's the list. Okay. Everybody, the majority of MCs are between 3,000 and 5,000 unique words, right? Aesop is all the way over there. He's all the way over there at 7,300. So he's at, let me see. He's at 7,879 words. And then right before him is Bus Driver. Shout out to Bus Driver. And then you get Jizza, of course. There go Doom, Wu-Tang Clan. There go Jedi Mind Tricks. RZA, his little Cannabis is down here. There go Ghost, as you would so. Immortal Tech right there. There go Thought right there. The Roots. Black Alicious. Okay, Jean Grey. You know, Delta Funky Homo Sapien. Killer Priest. Kool Keith. QG Rap. Cunning Linguist. Sage Francis. Raekwon. Watsky, there go Action right there, you know, but there go Ace all the way over there. Now, the thing with that is people say, man, words ain't everything. And that's it's true. Words aren't everything. But it means something because rap is words. Oh, there me go. 4,600 words. And look at Ab. Me and Ab right next to each other. and Denzel Curry, the homies. We're all on the same line right there. So I'm 4,645. So why is this important? First stat for why you should appreciate Aesop is that as rappers, we just use words. When I first started rapping, I didn't have enough words. I was like, I'm finna be a rapper. And I would just use the same words, and then I had to find ways to get words. And I was basically collecting words. So my first rap notebooks was me just collecting words. So even though this kind of people can say, people outside of rap, and even some rappers who can say, man, that don't, concepts is what means something, or punchlines is what means something, or this means something. It's like you gotta have words to even make the punchlines or make the entendres. You gotta have a understanding of at least the connotations of different words and the different layers and the different meanings of different words before you can even start building entendres, right? Or do punchlines or get into that, let alone concepts and visualizations and things that are a little bit more macro. So it all starts with words. So off top, he is hands down the highest on the list in terms of rappers, right? And as you can see, this is a pretty big list of some really incredible MCs. And he's at the top of that list. And this is words that they've actually used. So it's like number of unique words used within the artist's first 35,000 lyrics, right? So this isn't like he just has a bunch of words. These are actually words that he's actually used in records. And so that's one piece of just kind of like quantifiable, objective impressiveness, right? But here's the catch-22 with that. And this is another story of Ace and why I think he should be appreciated. So for y'all to know art, there's an artist by the name of Jackson Pollock, right? And Jackson Pollock, I'm gonna show y'all. I'm gonna do a little visual thing. Right? Jackson Pollock. It still relates to Ace. Just don't bear with me. Bear with your boy. Bear with your boy. See if we can get some paintings. Okay, so this is a Jackson Pollock painting. Okay, that's Jackson Pollock. If you ever seen this particular style of painting or seen paintings like this, those are references to Jackson Pollock. Jackson Pollock was an artist that was working back in the 50s, whatever. New York school. And the critique of Pollock was that, man, he just going in the studio and he got all this paint. He just throwing the paint around. And that's what he would do. He would go in the studio. He would have the canvas laid out on the floor. He would have mad brushes, and then he would just start whipping paint. And that's what you see. It's called action painting, right? And so he would do these action paintings. And the critique of his times, and even now, is that, man, anybody could do that. A kid could do that. Like, you could just go in there and just start whipping paint around, and it'd be huge canvases and all this stuff. And I've seen a lot of Jackson Pollock's work. Well, not a lot, but I've seen a few pieces. And if you get close to Jackson's work, it's all kinds of stuff in there. Like, in terms of like other stuff, like you might see like the cap for a paint bottle in there. You might see like a brush thing stuck in there. Like it's a mess, right? It's like somebody went in there and just blew up a paint studio. But Jackson Pollock is one of the most renowned and one of the most expensive painters of our times. Died tragically in a car crash. Factoid, whatever. But Very much so a very revered painting, but also very critiqued because of this, right? Because it just seemed like he went in there and did anything. And even in his time, he was being accused of that. He was being accused of just going in there and just whipping shit around, right? So I relate that to Ace, because people say, oh, you got all these words. You ain't doing nothing but going in there and just throwing all these words at the beat, right? You're not making metaphors out of them. You're not doing similes. You're not making images. You're just in there. It's just a bunch of noise, right? And when you look at a Pollock painting, what you see is a bunch of noise. You listen to some early Aesop and you're like, this is just sounds like a bunch of noise, like a bunch of, it's happening so fast. And the other thing with Ace is his flow is immaculate. Like his pockets and his execution from a flow standpoint and a melody standpoint is immaculate. So he's hitting, like he's flowing, like he's doing doubles and triples and multiple. He's going, like he's hitting all of that, and he's got a really nice tone. So it's not that it just sounds like noise, or that it feels like somebody's just on there blabbering, but it's dense and it's intense, and it can come across as nothing's happening. You're just hearing a bunch of words. So Jackson Pollock had the exact same critique leveled at him in his day, and Jackson Pollock, the way Jackson Pollock did it, and it was masterful. He did a show called The Black and White Show, and he did it with Peggy Guggenheim, right? Peggy Guggenheim Museum, that whole story. I'm not gonna get into that, but he did a show called The Black and White Show because people were saying like, man, you ain't doing nothing but going in the studio and just throwing a bunch of paint on the floor, and then you coming out calling it art. Like, that's not cool, right? So Jackson went and did a show called The Black and White Show. And at The Black and White Show, trying to find a good one. At The Black and White Show, is it? At The Black and White Show, this is one example of what was at The Black and White Show. Is he started to paint this, right? Things that had like figure to it, right? Like shape, like the suggestion that there was something there. Maybe a face is in there. Maybe that's an eye. Yeah, that's an eye with some eyelashes, and still kind of modern, more kind of Picasso, right? So he did a whole show of this with faces and characters and people kind of tucked in there, you know, like you see different, you can make out certain things, you know, versus this, right? Which is like, you can't, you know, what's going on, right? Right, but here's the killer. Here's the killer with this. Is that he used the same technique to do both. So the same technique, the wild splashy paint that he did to make this, he used the same technique to make that. And what the revelation was that he was doing it on purpose. Like he was doing it on purpose. It wasn't just wild splashes. That was just the technique. But in that process, he had learned how to master splashes, right? He learned how to master, noise. And he did a whole show about this. And I think the black paintings were his worst selling show, to the point where some of y'all may not even have heard about it until right now, right? It's kind of one of those things that just kind of happened and went away, because what was more interesting about Jackson Pollock was the more action stuff that people couldn't tell, right? When he got into figuration, it kind of like, oh, that was cool, right? But he really did it just to show people like, hey, man, and I'm probably butchering art history, but that's why he did it, to show people critiquing that he was just in there throwing a bunch of paint on the floor. And he was like, no, I can actually, be really, really precise with where I put certain things, how I whip the brush. So if you watch long enough and you listen long enough to Ace, you'll see that there's figures there. Like there's concepts there. And in his early work, it may be a little tougher to break through. Even for myself, it's a little tougher. It's at the mercy of the times of music back then, recording, just a whole bunch of other stuff, where it's not fully about having clarity. You know what I'm saying? Like it's meant to be rugged and raw sounding and stuff like that, and to have a fuller, more visceral experience. But as his work matured, and Ace is prolific in terms of work that's been put out. I don't know how many albums he has and EPs and just things that he does, and like full-bodied albums, like a whole album, right? And with 3 verses on every song or something like that. It's big albums, a solid work. And as you look at his work, and honestly, I'm not saying go look at it all. You know, even I haven't listened to all of this dude's stuff, but I'll tell you why that's the case shortly. Actually, I'll tell you now. The reason I haven't listened to all his work is because I'm still stuck on like 5 or 6 songs, right? Like I keep going back to these songs and I listen to them over and over and over and over and over and over. It's like, yo, what the fuck? Trying to figure out how he's doing this, right? Trying to figure out like, what is that stroke? Like, how did you do that? And so I approach it from 2 ways. When I listen to Ace, I listen to it professionally, right? Like there's a difference between listening to something personally and listening to something professionally. So personally, my personal favorite rappers are like Ja Rule. You know, like I listen, like again, I was listening to Insane Clown Posse personally. You know, I like funny jokes and weird shit. And I liked Ja's voice, and I liked the shit he was saying. Like I enjoyed that. So you'll see me, you know, before I was professionally engaged in music and rapping and being a rapper. You know, that's what I was listening to, and I still enjoy it to this day personally. Professionally, it's a different story. Professionally, you know, it's Jay-Z, it's AZ, it's Nas, it's Raekwon, it's Ghostface, it's Cannabis, it's Chino XL. It's all these, you know, not to give my biography. And with as you kind of level up through your professional practice and get introduced to new rappers, you know, you're like, oh shit, okay, I'm a Killer Army, okay, Beretta 9, Killer Sin, okay, they got to study them now, run them verses back. Oh, the Outsiders, okay, Pace One. As is, all right, cool. I gotta break that down too. Oh, Holocaust, yo, we gotta get every Holocaust record verse. Where is it? Let's get it. There's $500,000. Okay, we gotta get $500,000. Bring $500,000 in here. Let's get that. Right? Where you start getting into more of the micro that people were doing. So macros, you got. You know, I could rap like Ja Rule. I could rap like Insane Clown Posse. I could rap like Scarface. I could rap like Too Short. I could do that. Okay, cool, easy. I could rap like 8-Ball and MJG, which is where I started. 8-Ball, MJG, NWA, all that. It's the macro, they operate at these very big macros. MJG is a little bit more complicated. But regardless, none of that is close in complexity to when you run into something like Ace. Like you get like, whoa, what the fuck? like, what the fuck is this shit, right? So, but professionally engaging it, like, okay, I'm listening to it. Well, personally, I might not even like this song, but professionally, this song is absolutely ridiculous. And I need to know how he did it, right? I need to get in there and figure out how he did it. But personally, it's like, would I listen to this every day? You know, no, because it doesn't speak to me. It's not giving me personal lessons. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not giving me like, feel good about yourself, homeboy. You know what I'm saying? This is how to tie your shoes. It's not that. It's not meant for that. But I'll caveat that as well, because you would think that that's not the case. You would think that's the case. Like, this is just all high tech, high art, you know, conceptual, crazy shit. And once you get into Ace and you can get past, you get comfortable with the barrage of vocabulary, and the flow, the intensity of how fast he's rapping and how hard he's going, and the beats. And once you kind of get comfortable, and that's why I say you can sit with just, he has multiple albums, but you'll get stuck on a few songs because the songs are so dense. So you got to get used to the beat. Your ear has to get used to his flow. You got to get used to, you got to figure out what the word is he just said. So seppuku, you're like, oh, seppuku, what the fuck is that? Now you got to go look up seppuku. You got to come back to the song. You're like, okay, I got it, right? Now I can plug this back in and I can go. And we're not even talking about a punchline, right? Where you got to figure out the punchline and then you can come back knowing the punchline. You got to figure out the word first because it's so exotic and so unique. Then come back to the punchline and understand the punchline. So it's like, shit. Then it's like, so it's all those layers, right? So his words, he uses words like we use punchlines to make you go back. You're like, holy shit. Holy shit. This man has found out how to do one word punchlines. Because a punchline just isn't the object itself, the I'm like this or such and such like that, the simile or however you construct your punches. It's the mechanic of having to understand what's happening, right? That's also a part of punchlines. Understanding the thought mechanics and process that you go to break it down, right? Because then people say, I didn't get that bar until this, or like I didn't get that Lupe bar, or I didn't get that Mickey Fax bar, or it took me like, yo, I listened back, then I heard the bar, and then da-da-da-da-da, which is something that I built my career on, is sending people back. So you hear it off, you just hear it, I'm run through it, then you're gonna listen to it again and again and again, and then things are gonna start coming out, but it's on the macro level, it's on the punchline level. Ace is operating at the word level. He like, so immediately for me, at least for me, because that's how I look at this. For me, that blew my fucking mind, right? That it's like, he's, before you even get to what the punch is, you're not even gonna be able to understand the punch. So I got punches that still people don't understand, right? For example, in the freestyle that I put up, which is old, when I got this mic, I put up a freestyle of me rapping to Nas's Like, and there's a line in there where I say, coolest black boy in the ghetto. Sort of like living in Soweto. And the reference, and people thought it was new. Shout out to Bun B. That's not new, that's old. But regardless, it's new to you. The reference is that H&M ad, where they had the little boy was the coolest little monkey in the jungle. The black kid and everybody went crazy over the hoodie, and you know they took it off the shelf. And so the line is, coolest black boy in the ghetto, And so is H&M, right? What does H&M spell? Right? But it's also like So when you listen to that, coolest little black boy in the ghetto, the coolest little black boy in the ghetto, of course, you flip ghetto to what? The concrete jungle. So you flipping jungle, you still using it, black boy, all that, whatever, right? Black kid, black boys are monkeys. Like you turn it, you doing, I'm spinning, like doing things in there. But then when you get to that it'll just come off as very like basic. Like he just said it's just some onomatopoeia. But really it's H&M. I'm pronouncing H&M, right? So I got punches that I know people don't catch, right? That maybe they're constructed exotic, not like normal punches. It's not like a metaphor, but it's a little bit more of the secret sauce, right? For Ace, you might not get the punch, period. It might take you 3 years to get the reference point. But before you can even get to that, you got to know what the word is. So if you don't even know what the word is, you're never going to get the punch. So it's layered in there. And the punch is probably something ridiculous, right? Some ridiculous, exotic, exclusive, little elegant thing. So that's the one piece, right? That's how he uses vocabulary. It's not just a bunch of words. It's very, very tactical, and very, very intentional. Now you back up from just his word usage, right? Words are punchlines, which is crazy to say. A one-word punchline? Damn, right? But then you got to understand the word to get the. But it's not just a one word punchline that just comes along for the ride. It still is a punch. It still is a like da 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 or such and such as da da da. Traditional setup. It still is a punch. So now you got to come up once you learn the word. You got to come up, then get the punch itself with all the other words connected. Then you come back from that because it's happening within the context of a verse. So you're like, what the fuck is this verse? Because the words are so exotic. That means the punch is going to be exotic. That means the lines and bars are going to be exotic. That means the verse is going to be exotic. So when you hear this verse, it comes across as noise. But then now that you get a grasp of how to appreciate him, then it starts to be like, so it takes, but it's a lot of work. And it's like, okay, stop. Words are punchlines. They're still punchlines. Isolated, they're still exotic. Then the verse itself is exotic. And there's 3 verses. 3 verses, right? So there's 3 of these big exotic fucking Jackson Pollock paintings sitting in front of you. You're like, damn, I got to dig through all of this. So that's just the song. Then it's the song. So now you got the verses, 3 verses, and then the song itself is another layer. Like, what the fuck is this title? Like, what are you? It genuinely begs you to ask, what are you talking about? Right? Like you'll stop the tape. You like, Aesop, IT, what are you talking about? Right? Here's where it gets absolutely genius. Say, yo, what is he talking about? And because you're thinking that it's all this super exotic word play and super exotic vocabulary, and then of course one word punchlines, then punchlines within punchlines, and then concepts within concepts, and layers and layers and layers. You're like, yo, what is he talking about? And it'll be like, his cat. Like, what? Yeah, the song is about his cat. Like, what the fuck? Then you go back and listen to it once you realize that the song is about his cat, which is a punchline again, because you didn't know. It's a revelation. Like, aha, his cat. So now you armed with, this motherfucker has been talking about his cat this entire time. You go back and listen to it now with all of the keys. You've already solved that it's the cat. And all of this shit references back to his relationship with his cat. But then guess what meets you? The flow. Now you can appreciate the flow. You can appreciate his technical execution. Just the rap, the way he raps. So you can sit and appreciate his brush strokes now, because you already know what it's about. But it took you 20 listens. That's one song. There's 16 songs on this bitch. You back up and you look at the whole scape of everything. And you're like, is this whole album about his cat? This whole album can't be about his cat. Please don't tell me this album is about a fucking cat. It's not, right? Nah, it's not about my cat. It's about my life. It's about a very specific biographical moment in my life. What do you mean? Like, yeah, this whole album is like my life, right? This is my life story as I'm dealing with it now, and I'm going back and I'm doing some things to reference this. I'm giving you my life story, but I'm giving it to you in this particular style where it comes across as something that is rapidy rap, but it's my life. Then you realize that it's emotional, it's touching, it's funny, it's unbelievable. As a rapper, you sit there and you watch this And you're like, first, you're like, I can't do that.